nice. All right. Let's draw some anime stuff for at least 30 minutes. I've got a new goal to stream at least once a day for every day to see how far I can get. What's up, user? Yesterday we drew this frog and this lady, and today I think we're gonna draw a couple of Totoro characters and probably be live for like what, 30 minutes, and then see what the hell happens after that. Usually I'm up and going at like what, 7, but I got tied up with a whole bunch of bullshit tonight, so I'm trying to just get this hobby under wraps, man. Hey, that's a good idea. I really want to start streaming, but I don't have any followers. I know, that's the toughest thing. It's like you gotta grind all the way just to even unlock the door, and then, like, what? And then it's like in Minecraft when you spend the whole time mining or whatever, and it's been like 20 hours, and then finally you can start playing the game instead of playing the game from the very beginning. But this guy is hopefully going to be extremely cute. You got this. Thank you very much. We're hanging. We are definitely hanging. Okay, so for anime characters, for honestly like any character, anything you're ever drawing, it's always a really solid idea to start with all of the simplest shapes first. So as you can see, and then a creeper blows your stuff up. Yes, exactly. What's up, Gemini? Like whenever you're drawing whatever character you have, especially if you have a reference image that you're working off of, like as long as you can get all of these simple shapes in first, it gives you like this crazy amount of boundary stuff to work with and play with and figure out exactly where all of your details are supposed to go. Whereas a lot of times, especially when I was starting out drawing, I would just like try and cook immediately and try and get to the end goal of the drawing immediately and as fast as possible. And guess what? All my drawings always looked like hot garbage. And so now I'm taking things a lot more seriously and really focusing on all of the little stupid lessons that you learn online about what makes a better artist, and I'm taking them seriously, and it's actually working, which is crazy. But for this character, we are drawing one of the little Totoro rats. There's a scene where he is actively stealing a whole bunch of food and snacks from the main family, and that's sort of how we get introduced to all of them. Extremely cute, but extremely nefarious as well. And so what I'm doing is I'm laying out all of the simplest shapes. So his whole body is basically just one big egg. And then as we continue on, he has like triangles for ears. All of his limbs can basically just be like little ovals. And then he's carrying this big food sack full of all of the treats from the kids of the family. And they're actively chasing him at this point in the story. So what we want to do is we want to focus on all the simple shapes, and then we can slowly start adding certain details, and as we go and as we add, you get more and more information to like base the other pieces of details on. So it's kind of like you have to trudge through all the BS of a drawing to get to even a point where you can start like making real decisions, which is like a really interesting lesson that I had to learn. but it works. What's up, Vinny? Um, but essentially, what that means is everything that I'm adding, like every simple shape that I add to this drawing right now, gives me a little bit more information on where everything should be in proportion and in perspective to that detail. So like every time I add one of these simple little lines, it then tells me like, oh, well, if this leg is this big, then this arm can't be bigger than that leg, right? It's like every little piece of detail, everything plays with each other, and it explains the story almost as much as just like actually drawing it does, which is fun. And it takes a little while to like fully understand that lesson, but now that I think about it, it makes it way easier to trust the process. With a lot of these drawings, it's like I understand that part of the process is getting more and more detail onto the page and onto the paper, because the more detail I add, the more I understand what I'm drawing and like all of the objects surrounding it, which is a sweet little lesson. And it took me way too long to learn it, but that's all right. So now that we have basically all of our simple shapes have started to come to a head, we can start adding a little bit of a darker outline on all the lines that we're really comfortable with. So another thing too is when you are drawing like this, when you're drawing all of the simple shapes first and really focusing on structure and all of these things, once you get to a point where you can't really add anything else, you realize that your drawing is just turned basically into a paint by numbers sketch. Like all I'm doing now is going back over all of the details that I've been stressing about, and all I have to do is outline them and make them look nice, and I'll have the drawing that I wanted to draw at the very beginning. This ear is a little bit too wide, but because we're keeping all of our pencil strokes pretty light, it's extremely easy to make changes and fix things in this stage of all the drawings, which is another big reason, like whenever you're doing all of this pre-drawing and structure and whatever, it also gives you a ton of routes out, like a ton of routes to save your drawing before it gets horrible. Tips on motivation for drawing? Ooh, that's tough. Motivation for drawing is like a skill. It's almost like you can't even rely on motivation at a certain point. It just has to be like discipline. Like you have to hate it, basically. Like you have to just deal with it and like rip 5 minutes a day every single day, and then slowly but surely you'll start getting into that flow state, and then you'll have like 30-minute drawing sessions every day instead of the 5. But like, I gotta be completely honest, it's going to suck. Like anytime you force yourself to get good at something, or if you're really practicing or whatever, it like will become a chore no matter what. Just because at a certain point it's just hours on page that make you get to a point of like success that you want. So if we know that that's going to happen, we can just assume that this hobby we've chosen is going to feel like a chore at some points, and you just have to be ready for that. And that discipline of like, well, you know, I just have to draw a little bit, or I just have to practice this one thing just today, and that's like my only goal, and that'll get you through way faster. Nightmare of the War, I can't read that. I wish I could. But yeah, I'm sorry to say that that answer is kind of sad and depressing, but that's it. Like, you just have to. Oh, that was a nice little forearm I just drew. You just have to sit down and make time for it, and that 5 minutes will always turn into more and more time. Which is like, that's the biggest tip of just like try. And also, if you do that 5 minutes and you hate it or whatever, you still like, you crushed 5 minutes. Like, you still sat down and you drew something that day. So like, just keep the streak going. As long as you are doing something every day, Like that's better than doing nothing. Like slow motion is always better than no motion. You know what I mean? So just keep trying and keep trucking, and eventually, like you'll start seeing some crazy progress, or you'll unlock a quick skill, and you'll be like, oh my god, this is all I've been doing is drawing like for 5 minutes a day, and I'm already this much better. It rips. I hope that helps. And if it doesn't, whoops. But yeah, back to this drawing. Now that we've really focused on all of the broad shapes and really simple parts of the drawing, where you can see that I'm slowly entering all of like the finer detail moments. So I'm adding in all of the little pupils, like the nose. I'm adding that outline. I added a little semblance of this bottom leg as he's running. And that's all because I took the time earlier and I set up all of those little simple shapes first. But like as you get going and as you start learning how to focus on simple shapes first and then detail later, like all of this stuff just kind of becomes second nature, which is sick. It took me a long time to just completely reverse everything I had learned up until this point, because the way I used to draw was just power through something, and if it looks good at the end of it, you succeeded, and if it looks bad, you failed. But guess what? If you do all of these simple shapes first and you do all the pre-drawing stuff, you like basically scratch your risk of failure in half, and you just stop failing at drawings. They take longer, sure, but you stop having to like crumple up your page and go try something else for the day. You know what I mean? Keep it up. But yeah, like this guy is already getting to the point of stinking cute. And if you remember, all we did, actually I doubt any of you remember because you're all new, but all we did for this guy is we drew a big egg shape, and then we slowly added like very simple shapes for his arms, his legs, his feet. Like it's all just been the simplest shapes you can ever think of, and then I started outlining. And Zenemy, bro, how can I improve my drawing? I'll tell you, Zenemy, and it's gonna hurt. But essentially you just have to get hours on page. Like you have to dedicate parts of your day to drawing. And second of all, scale all of your drawings back to the simplest shapes first. So if you have a reference image, or if you have something that you want to draw, here I'll find a good example of it. Say you want to draw this bobcat, right? What you want to do to improve your drawing, as you're starting this drawing, you're just going to start with one big circle, right? And once you have that circle, you can add in like a little rectangle for the neck. And then for these ears, you can do big triangles or other circles. And then slowly but surely, as you're adding in all of these simple shapes, like add another circle for the snout and make it a little bit 3D. Like you're adding structure and basically scaffolding for your drawing. And then once you have all of that structure and scaffolding, when you do start going in and adding in details and making things look nice, you have a ton of walls and fences and like boundaries to make sure that you don't mess up those details. So if you can just start by drawing big circles, squares, and rectangles for every single object that you need to draw, like you'll get there. It just takes a little bit of time. But I hope that helps, Zenemy. How's your night going? Yeah, like all this stuff. Like this face specifically started with a big circle here, and then I added like a smaller circle for the nose and mouth, and then I just connected those up, and that was basically all of my framework and scaffolding. and then I added in, like the line down the middle, lines across, all of those things. And I'm just like constantly setting up boundaries for myself so I don't mess up all of my details. Love from India. Well, thank you very much. Love right back. All right, let's get back to this Totoro drawing. Okay. I think I messed up his gut. It shouldn't go in like that. So, because we're at this point in the drawing where everything is still light, we can just very easily erase that line and then redraw it. And then we can erase that little extra line we threw in there and then refine. Hey, he's starting to look pretty good. But yeah, man, all it is slow practice, simple shapes first, detail later, and slowly but surely you can pretty much mimic and draw anything if you just spend the time doing it. You know what I mean? Like all of the simple shapes, all of the little tiny tricks that sort of piss us off. Like all of the drawing like this takes a long time, for sure. But you get, instead of 5 minutes of frustration, you get 20 minutes of, deep thought and then all of the satisfaction that you were looking for in the very beginning. So, you decide. Do you want a good drawing or do you want to be frustrated and hate yourself? Those are the only two options. There are two wolves inside of you. But yeah, now we can add just like a bunch of random little shading, a bunch of little shadows everywhere, and then we can ink this bad boy. And he's gonna turn out way cuter than you could have ever thought, which is a huge win. Add a big shadow. Basically, like all of Studio Ghibli stuff is just like Pokemon. Okay, bye. Today in my exam I didn't prepare. Oh no, Zenami. Well, good luck. Deep breaths. Take a sip of water and have a snack before. You'll be fine. But yeah, like what I've noticed drawing everything Studio Ghibli is it's just Pokemon. It's like consistently it just looks like different types of Pokemon, which makes sense. It's like it all comes from anime and whatever, but dude, it's uncanny, the resemblance of a lot of these characters in Pokemon. So I wonder if, like, whose inspiration came from what. You know what I mean? Like, does Pokemon steal from Studio Ghibli? Or does Hayao Miyazaki steal from Pokemon? Alls I'm saying is nobody knows. And we probably never will. Or it's all the same. Maybe they all do the same stuff together. I might have given him too small of an ass. I'm gonna bump that out just a little bit. Oh yeah. And I'm gonna shrink up his tail. Oh yeah. Bingo, baby. That's nice. Sorry, I have to go silent when I'm inking because I mess this up quite often. But yeah, like we're already, this drawing has taken, I've been drawing this for like 20 minutes, maybe, right? and it looks solid. Like I'm not an incredible artist by any means, but with this little simple shape method that I've been ripping, like I can at least get all of these things to look normal, which has been incredible. Oh, what's up, Bloom? How you been? We're drawn late. This is Magnus on another account. Why do you have two accounts, Magnus? I'll wait for your response. It's been a late one tonight. I got tied up with a whole bunch of stuff, but I don't want to lose my streak of streaming every day, so I'm hopping on for, I don't know, maybe like 30 minutes. Just like a quick one. I'm already halfway through. I'm doing this drawing. I'm live on TikTok too. Well, I don't make art as Magnus anymore, so I have another account. Sick. So you're posting on Bloom? Let's actually make this guy's ears a little bit pointier. That's another fun thing about whenever you're inking or whenever you're drawing like this, and you do all of these simple shapes and you have all your boundaries set up and ready, once you get to the inking stage, it's like another step and zone for you to make edits in quick changes, because you have so much structure and so much pre-work and pre-drawing that it's like the ink is just for fun. Like we don't actually need to do any of this inking, but we might as well. And that's a little Totoro guy. Isn't he nice? Oh, just another Google account you have? Sick. Well, I'm happy you're here. We can even add in some shadow stuff. Because I need to get a lot better at little line shading. Oh yeah. Beautiful. You just doing more cartoons today or planning on different stuff? I don't know. Probably just a couple more cartoons and then I might be off for the night. It's already almost 10 o'clock here. So just rip a couple of Totoro drawings and then count my daily stream as done. Let's do one more. Let's do another little guy and probably call it quits after that. Or maybe we draw a couple. Oh, are you drawing right now? Or are you just hanging? So again, for this character, I'm drawing a smaller version of this guy. Again, I'm starting with those super simple shapes, like always. I'm gonna keep this lesson going until you guys shoot me dead. But you start with these super simple shapes, just ovals and circles, nothing else, and then that gives you all of the boundaries you need to make this drawing solid. And also, the more like pre-drawing you do, the better the drawing turns out, because guess what? You know where everything's supposed to go instead of guessing as you go. You're in bed? Might draw a little bit, maybe not. I'm glad I got you live because I was gonna get ready to sleep. Well, I'm glad. Dude, I've like such a bad habit of falling asleep to streams. I think I'll just turn something on and let my phone run for hours. Like I fall asleep immediately and then my phone's just on watching stream, which is nuts. And also terrifying because if I don't wake up and turn it off, like my alarm won't go off because it'll die. I always let stuff play while I sleep. It's the best. It is the best way to do it. And everybody hates us for it. These guys are some of my favorite from Studio Ghibli. It's also crazy how he can get these little fur balls to have so much emotion, like conveyed constantly. Like none of them ever have words or anything to say, but like just their eyes and their body movements. Like it feels like they're still saying stuff and like scripted moments happen and all of these things, which is crazy. It's just so cool. Oh yeah. Cutie. What a nice little man. I've actually never watched a Studio Ghibli movie. Ooh. Magnus, you are missing out, actually. I'm not gonna pull the card of like you have to watch this, it's gonna be the best thing ever. But it's pretty good. It's pretty damn good. Especially if you like art. Oh. The stories are crazy. It's so good. Which one? I think Spirited Away is a great starter. I think if you like darker stuff or like more R-rated, I think Princess Mononoke is sick. There's a lot of like bow and arrow fights and arms getting cut off and stuff like that. And then a fan favorite is Howl's Moving Castle. Spirited Away is the only one that you've heard of. That makes sense. I feel like that's got to be one of the most popular of all time. But yeah, those three are like the top dogs, I think. Well, shit. We're already getting to 30 minutes. Oh, I can't even. I shrunk down my camera on the stream, and now I keep moving off, and that's a mistake. You should. I think they're all on HBO, but also you can just like pirate them super easily. They're everywhere. I bet you could even find like a 40-part YouTube video on it. I used to watch so many movies like that. Low key go for another 30 minutes. What's up, Pear? Another 30 minutes is crazy. Yeah, I used to pirate stuff all the time too, and then I don't know. Now I just have subscriptions to everything. Like I get sick of doing the thing where like you load in and then you immediately X out of all of the pop-ups and the ads and the spam and whatever, and trying so desperately to get to the video. That was like such a battle. I used to have like all the sites like 123 Movies and everything ready to go, and I knew all of the patterns for the pop-ups. It was sweet. Okay. What else should we draw? Maybe we do something realistic. Maybe we do. You just gotta have an ad blocker on a PC. I swear it's amazing. Yeah, true. Ad blocker is so like necessary now. I feel like I had it back when I was like just getting into PC gaming and stuff, and I felt like such a hacker. But now it's like if you don't have it, it is like a lot of stuff is unwatchable. Especially like if you're on Twitch or something. Like it's crazy. But then at the same time, it sucks because you get you're like taking away ad revenue from the creators that you like watching. So that's just bogus. What animal should I draw, Magnus? Give me something. Because if you want me to stick around for another 30 minutes. Horse? God damn it. I hate drawing horses, actually. But it'll be good practice. Okay. They're just so alien. Oh, and to make them look realistic, god damn it. Okay. I found a pretty solid reference image. We'll rip this one. We'll see how long it takes. Okay. So, we're going to put away the pen. Not going near ink until I get this thing going. So what we're going to do, we'll throw this guy away. So I have a little bit more working space. Nice. That is perfect. Okay, for horses. Horses are so awesome. I never knew you liked horses, Magnus. That's fun. Okay, same thing for every single drawing. This one we are going to keep a little bit smaller. So I'm going to set up just a small little boundary for myself on the paper. And what this does is instead of having this weird amorphous blob to draw on, I have like an actual, like the entire drawing has to fit in this square, which is a fantastic little lesson to learn. If you're ever getting upset with proportions and you don't understand why your drawing keeps like stretching out in weird directions, try drawing a box on your paper and then drawing inside of that box. And you might think I'm crazy, but it works every single time. Okay, so like every lesson ever, we're going to start with simple shapes. So horses have long heads. So instead of a circle, like what I drew for her head, I'm going to draw a big oval, right? And that's going to be my working shape. Then, from here, we know that the snout is going to be at the end of that big long head, so I'm going to draw a circle there to remind myself that that's where I want the snout. We can refine a little bit by throwing in some perspective, some objects that just like tell us that this is a 3D thing. We know that horses have sort of that big jaw muscle, kind of like a rounded, I don't know, it's a cheek and a jaw combined, but it protrudes a little bit. So I'm going to throw that about the middle of that oval, right? And then, because I'm expecting the neck is going to connect somewhere around here and the back of the head. So I want that cheek to be about the middle of the horse. That snout, I might even change the snout to a square just to make things easier. The more simple shapes and the more setup and structure we add to this, the like stronger the finished result is going to be. The more you can, like, even if it doesn't make the most sense, the more structure you add is usually going to help, because if I have a ton of structure lines and some of them start looking incorrect, then I know something needs to change immediately, instead of if I'm drawing and I get all the way to like the final drawing or the final steps of the drawing and it looks incorrect there, then I've wasted all my time and I have to erase and like start over. But if you're drawing a ton of different reference images and reference lines and different types of structures, and you catch the mistake at the structure stage, well then badass. All you have to do is change these little light lines that don't matter at all, and you can get right back on track to a horse drawing. And I'm liking that. I think we will I think there's a good stopping point to say, hey, what's looking wrong here? Also, something is itching my nose like crazy. I think it's you, Magnus. Let's take a look. Okay. Head shape looks fine. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw sort of a middle line down this head. And then I'm going to see about throwing in an eye. Horses also, all their eyes are, not all their eyes, both their eyes are on like the sides of their head. Yeah, I'm tickling your face. Damn it! See, I knew it. Horses' eyes are on the sides of their head, which make them incredibly difficult to draw because instinctively we want to draw eyes on the front of every head because that's just like what we practice. It's all the stuff that we always do. So, flipping the script to drawing on the side of the head has always gotten me a little bit pickled. But I think for a rough draft, that eye is pretty solid. Let's see, it goes all the way to the nose. It's going to be pretty far away from everything. Probably we need a little bit more cheek action there. And some jowls maybe. Or maybe the cheek even starts in the back. We're just adding as many lines and as much information as possible to this drawing because once we get to the stage where we want to add detail and where we want to start actually making things look nice, we want basically all of these things to be choices for us to make later. Like I want to, as I'm drawing some hard detail, I want to be able to see these hard details and be like, oh no, that's not right, that's correct. Like, and I can move through the drawing knowing that certain things will turn out, and I can move through the drawing and be like, I know for a fact that's not right, so I'm not going to finish that part of the drawing. So, I like these ears. They are solid. We can swoop down and pop that other eye up, and then maybe his snout goes down and in. And we'll see a little bit of semblance of that first nostril. And then we'll have his top lip hanging out. And I feel pretty confident in a bunch of these lines, so I'm just going to start slowly darkening them up. Nothing crazy. We can pop in that cheek action I was talking about. And this is all like, this is starting to look pretty solid. Oh yeah. And his nostril is going to be like right there. This other one is pretty large. I'm also, every time I do one of these like animal demos, I usually have a reference photo up on the side, and that helps. Like having reference images as you're drawing stuff is such a good little reminder of how, like, all the little nuances and little extra things that you always forget about when you're drawing. Having a reference image basically like solves all of those things, because then I can look over and be like, how does a horse's cheek actually look, and I have an image of that immediately to my left or right. So now that we're getting close to finalizing and we have all of these super simple shapes drawn and ready to go, we basically just have to outline and like figure things out very slowly, which is sick. Instead of, you know, what we would have done previously, like a year ago in drawing, I would have just started with all of these dark lines and then gotten frustrated and tried to figure things out as I went. But now, starting with all these super simple shapes, like I haven't had to erase anything on this horse yet, and it sort of looks like a horse already. We're not even We're not even done yet. We'll give him some nice little hairs. Oh yeah, baby. That's pretty sick. He's turning out. Magnus, you had a good idea drawing horses. Even though I hate drawing horses. I'll get better at it one day. Okay, we're gonna finalize this eye because I feel pretty confident in this whole drawing so far. Horses have pretty much black eyes. So we're just going to throw in a ton of color on there. Oh yeah. Pretty sick. We'll add in some indication for eyelids and some eyelashes. Horses always have like beautiful eyelashes. Have you ever noticed that? It's crazy. Next time I'll ask you to draw a cookie shark. Cookie shark? I've never even heard of that. And now I have to look up a cookie shark. We'll throw in some eyelashes on that other side. I think this eye is actually too far away from the middle, which sucks because if I would have taken a step back earlier in this drawing, I would have understood that. But now we just have to deal with it. Maybe that's just what this horse looks like. Who cares? Every horse is different, right, Magnus? Their lashes are always on fleek. They really are. I also haven't heard that word in so long. That's awesome. I am going to shrink down the head with this pen. And I think that's going to help us a lot. So now, the lashes are right there. And then, we are going to, let's see how easy it is to erase this eye. Nice. And now we're going to bring this eye in just a little bit. Oh yeah. That's sick. Much better. Look at that. And Magnus, you said I could never do it. You didn't believe in me at all. You crazy. We fixed it. Okay. And now we just have to figure out the jaw and the cheek. We'll bring that up a little bit since we shrunk the head in a little bit. I did not. I'm gaslighting you. I'm gonna make sure everybody knows that you freaked out. That is pretty sick. Okay. And now let's add some like crazy little Prince curls on this guy. Oh, that's so sweet. And then we'll give him some big volume. That is a handsome horse. Sick. Look at that. He's actually turning out. Oh yeah. What else do we need? Maybe some, a little bit of freckle action. Oh. Beautiful. That bangs. This part, ooh, I kind of messed that part up. Well, whatever. We'll just say that he's got a buff neck. He's just got an insanely thick neck, which is great. Some horses need that. Ooh, let's add a little bit of whisker, a little bit of fur. Just a little bit of extra detail. And there we go. Horse. Horse. He kind of has the man face from Roblox. He kind of does. Oh man, that's crazy. Well, sweet. Well, we repped. We drew some cartoons, we drew a face, we drew a horse. Kind of all bangs. And 46 minutes. That's much better than what I thought I was going to get. When I started this stream, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get past 15 minutes. Make it to 60. Magnus, you're dragging me in the mud, man. Okay, how do we make it to 60? Let's go with... I wonder if there's a way that we can connect all of these drawings. First things first. Let's get this squared away. I might even turn this horse into a stamp. Or like a picture frame almost. Right? We're slowly getting there. Oh, Cookie Shark. Yeah, duh. Okay. Thank God. I was just about to start drawing random stuff for 15 minutes. Let's look up a Cookie Shark here. Whoops. Cookie Cutter Shark? What the hell? You're changing up on me. I forgot the cutter part. Magnus, these things are ugly as hell. Oh, sorry, you can't even see me. This is... God damn! This is your favorite animal? Oh, these are the sharks that sit on like the bodies of the other sharks. That is so sick. I never knew their name. I always just knew that they existed. Okay. I'm in on drawing a Cookie Cutter Shark. But let's draw... I once did a school project on them in like 5th grade. It never left me. Dude, those are the things that hit. I did one on orangutans, and I remember like everything about it. It was like incredibly pivotal. Those little dioramas and little papers we had to write were nuts. Cookie Cutter Shark on shark. Let's do... Okay, here's my idea. This is gonna cook. This is gonna work. So, I'm going to draw a shark here. Damn, it's already too big. I want to fill this page, but also I might be running out of space. So we want the entire shark to be in this oval. So his back fin is going to be like right there. And then his body is going to come up to there. And he's got that big stinking mouth. And then it goes back to his body. And now we've got his fin there. Nice. He's got gills. Alex Lacasella. Hello. We're finishing up our round of drawing with a cookie cutter shark. And what sucks about this shark drawing, or like any shark drawings, is they have to be at perspective, because sharks don't like to pose for pictures perfectly. So his body is curving away from us in both directions. So when I'm drawing this, I have to not mess up the mouth. I have to not mess up his body. And I can't mess up any of his fins or anything else. And this is all because Magnus is forcing me to draw a cookie cutter shark, which isn't even the shark I'm drawing. I'm drawing a little tiny shark on top of this shark. And that's the goal of the drawing, which is crazy. I am slaving away tonight. Dude, shark eyes are so scary. Like, they have nothing. There is no emotion. There is no anything. That's so nuts. Also, like, describing whenever you see like humans with shark eyes, oh, that's gotta be like one of the scariest things of all time. Let's not have him smiling. Just like emotionless and void. Oh, those people are freaks. Sorry. Okay, this guy is starting to look a little bit better. Look at that. Now we're cooking with grease. Okay, and then his gills. Right. Let's add his top layer, his like dark coat on the top. And then that drops into basically all shadow at the bottom. And now we can draw the little cookie cutter shark right there for you, Magnus. He's got his eyes. And then his fins. I'll even draw a little arrow for you. Isn't that nice? Look at that little guy. Just for you, Magnus. Shark eyes are the organic googly eyes. They really are. It's insane. Alright, let's ink this. What's that bean? Let's ink this and then let's go to bed. Beautiful. There we go. The holes they leave on the sharks are gnarly. Yeah, they look like huge scabs. They're gross. Okay. Wow, I can't believe we crushed that. Well, now let's just fill time. Do you recommend anything specifically to study drawing clothing or fabric? Ooh, that is a fantastic question. 1 second. Let me finish this arrow. Yes. So, I'd say if you have a towel or a shirt or whatever, drape it over a chair and then take a picture of it on your phone and then have that picture like right next to your drawing paper and just mimic all of the creases and folds you see, like basically just like pretending to draw exactly from the picture. If it's like really impossible and you're starting from absolute scratch, even just like putting your paper over the phone and tracing and like getting an idea of how to draw those folds in the fabric. But then if you see this guy specifically, 3 more minutes, we got it, Magnus. I got someone asking questions on TikTok. If you see this guy specifically, when you're drawing a shirt or anything on anyone, all of the wrinkles are going to happen where movement happens on the body. So like think armpits, shoulders, maybe if the shirt is super dressy or flowy, it'll be like at the bottoms of the sleeves. But you're rarely ever going to see folds on the chest or like big flat planes. So, oh, 1 second. TikTok thinks I'm hacking. So whenever you're drawing, like a lot of people will just throw like mishmash details and curves and furls and whatever everywhere, but that's not what you want to do. You want to localize them to the armpits, the elbows, maybe at the bottom of the shirt, but if you keep them in the spots where they actually happen, you're going to be way better off. So like in the mirror when you're wearing your shirts, just move around, move your body around and see how the fabric changes as you like lift your arms or twist your body or whatever. But at the end of the day, taking a picture of a towel hanging over a chair and like seeing how the light plays with all of those little wrinkles and just practicing that way is going to help you infinitely faster. But yeah, I think that works. Those 2 things work beautifully, and then also like you can always just look at pictures of people wearing clothes. That's all super helpful. Thank you. I will definitely try that out. Well, I'm glad I helped. Magnus, we made it. You sucked 30 more minutes out of me. That's crazy. I'm glad you did. That was awesome. And now, it's time for me to go to bed. Woohoo is right. Okay. Oh, thanks for liking it. It's badass. We're, for anyone else that's joining, we are just finishing up. We're just done. Have a good one, man. Thank you very much. You too. You also hit 2K? I did! Isn't that sick? Alright. Well, I'm gonna stop now, curl up, go to bed. I'm cooked. Thanks for hanging out, Magnus. I'll see you around. Thanks for everyone on TikTok too. Have a good night.